East and West learning connections.
Helps people of different cultures break barriers and connect with each other.
Welcome to today's year-end review session for EAWLC 2025 Lunch Coaching Hour on Business Communication. EAWLC, I think people already signed in, know what it is East and West Learning Connections. It's a community where we learn, we connect, and volunteer. So Lunch Coaching Hour is one of the programs we offer to public that help community and everyone, regardless of background, to grow, to succeed, and to contribute. Of course, we cannot thank Coach Rick enough for his time, generosity, and genuine care for others. I think we'll talk more about that later. As Nita just mentioned, he, of course, is the founder of 3V Communication. He's the executive director of National Communication Coach Association. He's also the co-founder of Yeti York Entrepreneurship Development Institute. Is that right?
Correct.
And also he has been the top 10 communication professionals in the world. So we're incredibly fortunate to have him as our coach. So without further ado, we'll get started. We'll walk through this year's topics chronologically first, but of course we can jump around and skip and pause whenever we want. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Right, so the first topics we covered this year was establish and expand your professional network. Of course, I have the animation here. I don't know if you remember any of these. I don't know if anyone in the audience wanted to sort of go through these points that we had covered during the first session. If you want, can I get a volunteer to read or talk through or discuss the points that's currently on the screen? I know some of you may not be able to see, but for those ones who can I get someone to read this?
You want me? I can help.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
like a little bit stuffy nose, but I can read.
Yes, of course. Thank
Okay.
you.
So I like word by word.
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, Rick, you can correct my pronunciation if needed.
Okay.
Because my daughter, they keep laughing at me, my pronunciation. Okay, I'll be brave. Establish and expand your professional network. The first one, people invest, connect for 3 reasons. First, like/believe in you. Second, like/believe in your business/cause, some kind of. Third, ROI, return on investment. And then the next one, what's at the heart of networking? First, genuine small talk leads to big talk. Second, asking great questions. Third, truly active and engaged listening. Fourth, being centered, knowing yourself and your business well. Fifth, offering benefit/usefulness. Who do you help? The next one, what problems do you solve? And then the next one, asking, do you know someone who? Or I'm looking to connect with. And then the last one, being consistent, either online and, oh, actually both online and offline. Thank you.
Fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So basically, just a small correction. At the top, it's some kind of ROI. So ROI, return on investment,
Okay.
we tend to think of it as in financial terms, but it could be emotional, for example. So if I'm going to invest my time, let's say mentoring somebody for free, there's no money involved, but what am I getting? Maybe I'm getting some other benefit, like it feels good, or I'm tapping into their network, or I'm getting a free coffee, or I don't know what to, but or just getting a chance to talk to someone who's been in the business for a while. So that's a little bit different from the traditional ROI, which is return on investment tends to be in financial. So we can expand that to other types of investment. So I would say that for anyone that has any questions about any of the stuff on the screen, a little bit of clarity, or if you have a story, because stories are also fun, or a question that's related to the topic of professional networking, then we can just go from there, because this session is going to be good to remind everybody what we talked about with these great bullet points, at the same time give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you've prepared or that pop into your head. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this slide or this topic of networking?
So, Rick, maybe you can share some story like about good networking, like how you network.
Mm-hmm. I've been, like many of you, I've been doing this for years, and you get some good experiences and bad, or some good luck and some bad luck. So I think that's the first lesson, is that it is kind of hit and miss. It is a bit of a numbers game sometimes. So don't feel bad if your networking night doesn't go perfectly according to plan. I would say that to begin with. I would say what I've learned over the years is I like to speak to a smaller number of people and then make that more impactful, rather than trying to stick a business card in hundreds of people's hands, which is sort of the old style. So that means that I might have a greater chance of failing at my mission because I'm actually talking to less people. So if those people are not as sticky as I would like them to be in terms of helping my network, then I've in some sense I've failed. However, I feel good when I do this style. I'm not nervous. I'm not feeling like a salesman. I'm not running around trying to, like I said, talk to hundreds of people. So in that regard, I can enjoy the networking event, whatever kind of networking event it is, whether it's a social thing, whether it's, holiday party of some kind, or some other network. I can enjoy it more. So like I said, the people I choose to talk to, I prefer to try to go deep, have good conversation, meaningful conversations with that person. And then if something comes out of it, great. If not, it's okay. But I think for me, that's comfortable, and hopefully produces good results.
I think Nita has her hands up.
Yes. Hi, Rick, because I really like how you just said those, because recently I came across with a short video clip. Is that when you said you try to connect people, like a network, it's not like how many people you connect. It's actually how many people you help. That's the connection. So I think that's exactly what you were trying to tell us. That's why I want to share this. Thank
Thank
you.
you. No, thank you. You're right. Also, when we use the word help, like who does my business help, or my services I want to offer, who do they help, or what part of society do I want to help? It actually relieves us, because then we don't feel like a salesman again, or saleswoman. Again, we feel we're not being pushy or interfering, or, oh my gosh, this person doesn't want to hear from me. The mind shift changes to, like, I'm here to help people, and the better job I can do getting the message out is the better for society. So when you have that mind shift, networking becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. That's very good. Actually, there is a part of the slides. I was hoping that I can get someone to mimic what Rick was saying. This is the example Rick gave during the session. that how would he approach people? And I wonder if someone wants to uh, kind of stand out and then say what Rick is saying here. I don't know, Rick, I can read it for you, or do you
Well,
want me?
I can. I mean, so basically the formula is like, hi, I'm dot dot dot, and I help who with what is basically the formula. So hi, I'm, and I help who with what. So in this case, hi, I'm Rick. And you can expand that by saying I'm a communication coach, or I'm a, a president of such and such company. But most people don't care about that stuff. They just more care about the name and maybe the job. So hi, I'm Rick, communication coach, and I help business leaders genuinely connect to their teams so they can have support and success. And so that's one of many things. I could say a variety of things. Hi, I'm Rick, communication coach. I help business leaders speak better in public. I could just leave it at that, something very short. I could say something like, well, I help teams with their customer service. So why would I change it? I would change it depending on my audience. If I knew I was going to go to some event that had a bunch of customer service people there, then obviously I would frame it to as someone who can help them. If I went to a different event with different types of people, then I frame it. If I don't know, or if it's a large mixed group, then you just go with your best. What type of, however you want to introduce yourself, and again, how do you help people? Who do you help? How do you help? These are all important. So if anyone wants to try that here, just a simple hi, I'm blank, and I help who, meaning your ideal client, with what or how, then give it a shot.
Right. Anyone wants to give it a try?
Hi, Frank.
Yep, go
Hey,
Frank.
Frank.
Hi, my name is Frank. I help people come together to read books, share thoughts together. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, it's good, but the one problem I hear all the time when I do this exercise is we cannot say people, because people means everybody. Like, so do you help 5-year-olds, Frank? Do you
Okay,
help
specific.
people in
Yeah.
Vietnam as well as people in Argentina? Like, do you help everybody? No. So who is your target market?
Book club members. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So it's just a good advice for everyone, that if you for any reason have to network, whether you're an entrepreneur selling your own services, you're a professional, or whether you're representing a company, try to just say like what is it I do and who exactly do I help? Like, maybe I can help a wide variety of people, but who's my, let's say, favorite? We call that target market, but who's the best type of person or professional I can help, and that helps you with that phrase.
That's a good suggestion. I was wondering because I'm trying to come up with my own. I'm struggling because let's say, hi, I'm Ellen. Uh, I help people who wants to improve their communication skills to improve communication skills. Isn't that redundant?
Of course, it's
Mm,
ridiculous, and also you use people again.
mm,
You can't use that word.
uh,
So my question is, what type of people are you trying to help? Let's get more specific.
uh-huh. So that's the difficult part, I guess. What I'm trying to say is I want to help, let's say newcomers, but some of them are not that new. Let's say they're here, like it's still an immigrant,
Mhm.
that who is not familiar with the business culture or things like that.
Right. There you go. So now we're getting better. So hi, my name's Ellen.
Uh-huh.
I work for East and West Learning Connections, where we help newcomers and
Uh-huh.
immigrants
To
improve their
improve their
communication skills so
communication
they're more
skills.
comfortable here and thrive in this Canadian society.
Okay. Okay, that sounds much better. Okay.
Yeah, I have practice with this, so I do this all the time, so it's a little bit easier for me. But that's the idea, is just say like you just say, well, who do I help? Like, it's interesting because like we want to help anybody, and of course we would, but from a business point of view, it's like, well, let's give a clearer description so that we can find the right people, or the people that hear our pitch can pass it on to someone they know. So for more specific, they might say, oh, like a native speaker might say, oh, okay, I think I know someone who might need your service. I know someone who's been here a couple of years, blah, blah, blah. But if you just say, I help anyone with communication skills and Canadian culture, they don't know who that means. So that's the trick, is getting a bit more specific so that people's brains can start looking for that type of person.
Perfect, perfect. That's helpful. Anybody else wants to practice and getting life coaching advice?
Chloe, you had a
Hi, Rick.
question or a comment?
Before
Yeah.
we go to the next slides, I do have two questions because there, if you, yeah, I love the idea when you're mentioning asking great questions. But this is my first question. What if I don't have great questions? I'm not sure they're great or dumb. This is my first question. Second question, could you please elaborate on return on investment? Because
Sure.
if that's the, I don't know, that's the reasoning that you reach out to people, connect, and that could be, it's hard to give a balance, like what the real purpose of return of investment, what the definition.
Okay. So let's start with the top one. So the frame of this advice was under the frame of why would somebody help you, Chloe? That's the original. Why would somebody help you? So the answer is that people invest or connect with you for three reasons. One is they either like you or they believe in you. Or the second is they really like or believe in your business, your cause, whatever you represent, whether for-profit, non-profit, government, etc. And the third idea is that there's some kind of return on investment for them to spend time with you. In this case, it would not necessarily be financial, probably not. It would be more likely to be emotional or something where if they're spending time with you, helping you in any way, shape, or form, what are they getting in return? So let's say, for example, they're tapping into your network. Let's say, for example, they're getting fresh ideas to compare to theirs. Those would be two examples where they get a return on their investment being time in this case, not money.
Oh, I see. I understand. So from my perspective, like people connect me, and I'm supposed to provide something valuable. Those value are the return for investment to them.
There's always some exchange, right? There's always some kind of social currency, if not money. Like we're all busy, right? Like we're not going to go spend time with somebody that we're not getting anything out of that relationship. Just not. So the interesting thing is, if you're a business person, and you're trying to expand your network, you have to think about this ahead of time. Why would they want to connect with me? Why would they want to help me? Why would they want to have a coffee with me? So that's that first of empathy is like, well, do they like me? Do they like my business? What are they getting out of return? So that's that. So of course this works both ways, because if somebody asks you, Chloe, hey, can you have a coffee with me once every 3 weeks and tell me all your experience for an hour, you're allowed to say no, right? But if you say yes, is it because you like that person? Is it because you really like what they're doing, their business, or is it that you are getting something out of that 1 hour coffee shop meeting? Make sense? So that's the way to think of it. So it goes both ways, but it's about the bigger question is why do people connect with each other? Why do they help each other? Why would they, especially if it's not a paid in relationship? And that's where that comes from.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome. Now, in terms of great questions, I think the point here is that a lot of people ask standard questions, which are fine. I don't want to say they're bad. They're fine. Hi, how are you? Fine, thanks. How are you? How was your weekend? Not bad. Yours? Good. Yeah. Oh, did you have spent time with family? Yep. Everything good? Yep. And so it becomes a bit dry. Or what do you do for a living? Well, this is what I do. Okay, now what do you do? Well, thank you. This is what I do. And so these questions are kind of standard. They're safe. They're boring. But if somebody comes along with great questions, two things happen. One is, of course, they're a little bit more memorable, more interesting. But two is you get closer to the person, you get deeper, because the person's forced to give a non-generic answer. So if you and I are chatting, and here's the most important thing. Even if you start off with the general questions that we mentioned, hi, how are you? Fine, thanks. What brings you here tonight? So what do you do for a living? It's okay. It's okay, because now you can jump into the great questions. So even if you don't start with great questions, you can still jump at any point. And so a great question, like for example, I might say something like, I say to somebody like, oh, like what brings you here? And the person says, well, I'm an accountant. How long have you been an accountant? I've been an accountant 15 years. Great. So I might say something like, if you could go back in time, back to school days, university, college days, would you still want to become an accountant or not? Like, that's a real good question. People might go, yeah, absolutely. I wanted to be an accountant when I was 5 years old. And I go, what? You wanted to be an accountant when you were 5 years old? Tell me more. Boom. Great. Right. Or the person says, you know what, honestly, I don't think I would be an accountant. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. What would you be?
Mm-hmm.
So by asking that quote unquote great question, now we're going a lot further than just the superficial small talk that people are used to. So that's the idea. So do you have to have 20 great questions prepared ahead of time? Not necessarily, but you have to be at least open and willing in the moment to ask an interesting question to try to go deeper. And by the way, this works both ways because you have to be a bit open too. Like if you have to also, kind of expose your personal life a bit too, or whatever, so things can go hand in hand. That's it.
All
Thank you,
right.
Rick.
Welcome.
That was great discussion. All right. Okay, so let me go to the next one as time passed by. The second session we covered is strategies for personal branding. I guess I don't know. Can I get another volunteer to read?
Ellen, I would suggest that we don't read them.
Just discuss them.
Yeah, well, because first of all, the time is limited and you've got 10 slides. And secondly, everybody can read it, but what I'll do is I'll summarize just quickly what this is for people that are unable to read it.
Even better. Yeah, sure.
Just save our time. So
go ahead.
So the topic of strategies for personal branding, we looked at the idea of essentially self-promotion. Do we have to do it? Is it fake? Is it real? Is it being authentic? And we looked at the idea of personal branding because we tend to think of brands as in companies, which of course companies do have a brand. But when people start talking about personal brand, what does that mean? Well, it's kind of like how people think of you at work. What's the image they have of you? And if that's true, if people are going to have an image about me, how can I create the best one? What can I do to highlight my personal branding image so that people think really good things of me? And that's what the topic was, and some advice there was how you can maybe protect your reputation, how you can set it in motion, how you can be more visible and memorable so that people are like, yeah, Ellen's a good person for that, and Chloe's a good person for that, and Rick's a good person for that. Well, how do you know? Oh, yeah, so how would we know that? We know that because their personal brand sort of follows them around the office. So that was the main topic. And there was a video attached by my friend Mark Bowden, who did a wonderful TED Talk in Toronto, and the importance of being inauthentic, where the basic message was, and if you haven't seen it, please go to YouTube and watch it. But the basic message was, it's okay to be quote unquote fake, because that's how humans survive, is by not telling the truth 100% of the time, not showing our true emotions 100% of the time. To get along socially and to get along in groups, we need to sometimes mask and be polite when we don't feel that way, or to hide some feelings. If you're walking around expressing every little thing you think and feel, nobody's going to like you. That's it. So that's the subject matter for that. So if anyone has any stories or questions or follow-up questions about these concepts, please do ask.
I think I'd like to, oh, not this one, sorry. I'd like to, if you have questions, please go ahead. But I did have a clip of that video right here. I'd like to play just maybe like a few minutes so that we get the gist of the idea, which is brilliant.
Go ahead.
But if I came up close and showed you the real signals of predator, which are the real signals I want to display in front of this kind of large crowd, I guarantee you don't like me so much now, do you? So, this stuff works so well. So, I choose my behaviors around you. And I'm going to tell you again, because what's coming up for me is a really important message for you. And if I act authentically, honestly in front of you, you're not going to listen to me. And I hope you listen to this, because it's really important. I want you to have a look around you right now. That isn't a piece of rhetoric. I mean, actually look around you right now. And look at the back, because there's lots of people here, okay? There's a lot of you. There's about 1,000 of you here today. Understand this. You're designed to be indifferent to each other. You're designed today to really just hang out with the people that you came with. You'll spot a few others who are like you, your tribal members. Yeah? Oh, brilliant. Yeah, nice. Yeah, great, isn't it? Yeah? But you've seen some people already today, and they triggered predator in you, enemy. And more important, you know who they are. Yeah. And you've also met some people today, the majority here, and you don't know who they are. You're indifferent to them, and you're never going to meet them. And you've got a brilliant, life-changing idea for you, your family, your town, your city, your world, your universe, and beyond that, if you've got an intelligence way beyond mine, which undoubtedly, together, you certainly all have. Can't believe I said that. You've got some brilliant ideas, and they've got some brilliant ideas, but you're designed to be indifferent to each other. So I'm asking you today, I'm challenging you, and in fact, I'm just going to beg you. Okay? I'm just going to beg you. I need you to be more inauthentic with each other today. Not just today, tomorrow, the day after, and for the rest of your life. Because if you don't choose behaviors beyond your natural instincts for what you like and don't like, you will miss brilliant opportunities in your life. And if you don't go up to somebody today who you know at a gut level you're indifferent to, they hold nothing for you, your instinct, you've smelt it, you've tasted it, you've seen it, you've heard it, you know they are nobody. If you don't go up to them today and act and perform like their friend and ask them about their big idea and act and perform like you're listening, you will miss something that is going to change your life. So I'm...
All right. So I'm just gonna play up to there because we don't have that much time. Guys, any comments and thoughts? Go back to my presentation too.
I
This is
guess there's
Frank.
just a one way, not the other way around, where you try to play inauthentic. Sorry,
Why,
Frank.
why not both ways?
Um, you want to be show your interest in other people, not show like you're indifferent to other people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and this is Frank. I want to add a couple of comments. I mean, of course, being authentic is great.
Audio now
But
unmuted.
everybody
Alert.
does this,
Meeting rules
how
window.
to say, strength, weakness, threat, opportunity kind of analysis. You know, um, uh, what I get for being authentic. I think it's choosing is really about um, two people collaborate, they bring their unique strengths. This kind of synergize or to make something happen. For example, your artsy person, your engineer person, your business person, three people, kind of people, you can become a launch a successful company. I mean, it's really about discover who you are, then being authentic. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good point that and that's also part of the point of networking is that if we don't seek out new people, new opinions or people that we didn't originally think had value, but we, let's say, force ourselves to go through the motions and have that conversation, you never know what can be discovered. And as you said, Frank, some synergies can be produced, some amazing partnerships or friendships can happen. Years later, you say, oh, it was a total accident that we met. But that's because that somebody somehow took that first step. So it's a very good point.
Thank you. All right. I'll move it along because we have a lot still. And to the next one. Oops. Is that the next one? No, sorry. Yes, this is the favorite. Manage difficult conversations. And Rick, I don't know, do you want to also give it a quick summary?
Yeah, sure. I think that with the topic of managing difficult people or different conversations and difficulties, I think it does incur, we do have to look at philosophy as well as psychology. I think that's the main point. There's a overall philosophy that we have to have, which is to not see things always as a personal attack. And that's really, really difficult because we're conditioned to respond to personal attacks, verbally, physically, emotionally, whatever. And we see it everywhere. So that's the challenge. Is how do we first find a philosophy that doesn't mind being attacked, doesn't mind being abused, doesn't mind being challenged? I mean, that's the first difficult step. If someone's being aggressive, how can we be okay with that? And then the next step is, how do I handle it? How do I sort it out? How do I make sure I'm assertive and protecting myself and my own at the same time? And even better, how can I make this person not just calm down, but maybe become my friend after? So that's the really the high level that we would all hope to get for any type of negative interaction, whether it's with our kid, whether it's with a stranger, whether it's at work or not, is how can we somehow be okay with it? First of all, the attack, and then secondly, be able to be effectively bring down the temperature of the situation, and even to the point of making that person feel regret and that they feel stupid and they come and be your best friend forever. So that's the ultimate goal. So is it easy? No. Like everything, it takes practice, and that's the funny thing for me to say is that the more you practice difficult situations, the better you get at it, because your body gets used to the stress, your mind gets used to the stress, and then it doesn't overreact as much. But if your job or your life doesn't have a lot of conflict in it, of course you're going to be taken off guard when it happens. Of course, it's hard to practice when it's not a normal in your life. So for those of you that do customer service and collections and dealing with bankruptcies and proposals, or work at banks, I would even say deal with angry customers all the time. Those jobs, if you have a job that requires you to deal with upset people or angry customers, you'll get that training. And but for other people, it's hard. It's hard to suddenly, in one moment, once a year, to be able to suddenly handle some aggression pointed towards you. So
Right. I don't know if anybody wants to practice dealing with difficult situation, but you're right, I guess, because only after, like, I guess, to reflect and be aware how you respond during those moments, you become better.
Yeah, there are things we can do. I mean, you can have, like we talked about, some of the bullet points in the seminars, right? Okay, try to be assertive, not aggressive, try to filter the comment, don't take it personally, try to stay calm. Like, all of this is great. Like, it's great. It's just hard to do if somebody catches you off guard. That's all. It's just, if you get an email and you have time to think about it for 24 hours before you respond, that's better. But if someone just says something to you, and it may not be overly aggressive, maybe it's passive aggressive, right? Maybe it's a joke that's really not a joke. Maybe it's a comment said with a smile, but it's really an ugly comment. Like, that's hard because you don't have that 24 hours with an email that you might have. You've got to sort of deal with it then and there, or not. And so that's becomes the choice. Do you want to deal with it right then and there? Do you want to just let it go? Do you want to play dumb and pretend that you didn't understand that, just to kind of let it go? Or do you want to deal with it later? All those things you have to think about, all different options.
I think many people just keep silent.
Mhm.
So they let go, right? Because they don't
Mhm.
know how to react. So that
Mhm.
might be a good strategy.
Yeah.
Instead of you get offended and fight back right away, might regret later.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people do just kind of let it go, but they acknowledge that it happened and they're mad about it. But the problem is it festers. That's the problem, is that they don't let it go. They think about it and think about it and think about it. And then they're nervous about the next interaction with that person. And then they start talking to somebody about it. And then next, there's whispers in the office. And so that's the problem. So even if we just don't confront it at the time, which is totally fine, but what if it starts to fester and grow?
Yeah, I
That's the
might
problem.
write an email later to
Mhm.
express my
Yep.
my opinion,
Yeah,
or yeah.
that's a good idea.
All right. I think I really want to play a big clip of this video because this talks about future comments, and which I think really helps. Rick, what do you think? Would that help?
How much are you playing? Just a clip?
Just a clip, I think
Yep.
2 minutes. Yeah.
Sure. I don't know about anyone else, but last time when you expanded the video, it was choppy. Like the audio
Oh,
was perfect, but the video was choppy. So maybe
okay.
keep it this size, maybe the.
Not okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to part 4, managing conflict and difficult people. The secret we'd like to talk about now is how to deal with difficult conversations, even difficult people, while staying centered, calm, and fair. Are you ready to be comfortable?
Okay, I'm gonna
Things
start
differently.
here.
Stay calm, centered, and willing not to win. What does that mean? Does that mean I want you to lose? No, 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 no. Willing not to win means that your ego is not leading the charge, right? And by the way, let's look at winning and losing a little bit, okay, shall we? I want you to imagine you winning a contest. It's a race, for example, it's a board game, whatever it might be, a card game, and you win. You got first place. How do you feel? Think about it. Elated, fantastic, champion, confident, woohoo, on top of the world. Great. Now, how do you feel if you lose? Again, the foot race, the game of cards, whatever it might be, you lost. How do you feel? Well, you could feel upset, a bit gutted. You could feel like, well, I'm not so confident today. I'm not really feeling great. And maybe you're down, to say the least, right? These are two obvious kind of categories of feelings. So when we're looking at a game or a contest, it's natural you're going to have a winner and a loser. That's just the way the rules work out. But how many times do we apply this idea of winning and losing to real life? To driving, for example. Think of all the aggressive drivers out there that are trying to win by driving aggressively. It's not a contest. It's outside of the NASCAR race, of course. But on the streets, you're not supposed to be competing for win or lose. Same thing at the office. How many times are you competing with people when you shouldn't be competing? This creates the feeling of I must win, therefore they're going to lose. Well, think about it. If you win, automatically that person feels all those negative feelings you mentioned how you felt when you lose. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not about winning and losing, especially if it's not a contest or game, which has rules. Life is not full of contests and games, right?
Yeah, I think I remembered around future comment is the next video I was gonna play, but this one is about winning and losing is also something I guess instinctively sometimes we go there. When we are in a tense situation, it's like, okay, if I don't say something, then I lose, or something like that. So anyone has questions about managing difficult conversations? Again, as you just saw, there's a mini series from Rick's YouTube channel about managing difficult conversations and conflicts. I find it very helpful. The next one I'm not gonna play is the geometric shapes where we
Yeah,
use
it's complicated. Yeah.
geometry to sort of think through how we deal with those difficult situations. So you're more than welcome to go and explore yourself. So let me move along to the
I
next.
just want to give a quick comment. I think that's it's not about to win or to lose. If I have different opinions with other people, I think you just share your opinion and let other people share theirs, and it just that's enough. So then you can both take both like opinions from both sides, and maybe you can slip over it and maybe get something from both sides. So then yeah, may be able to solve the problem or let everybody keep their own opinion.
Yeah, if there's more people in the world like that, we would have less war, we'd have less conflict, we'd have less tariffs and trade wars and all the other stuff. So people don't want to do that. People want to assert their own sense of self and ego, their own moral compass, their own sense of right and wrong, and their own sense of winning and losing. And when people feel that they're somehow losing, a lot of people get upset and they start defending and protecting what they feel is they should. So that's the challenge, is that there's too many people who are on the other side of things.
Yeah, because when I was younger, I might, mind more of winning. But now I just, okay, I express my opinion, then
Yeah.
that's okay. I don't have to be the one who give the last word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this is a funny story from China.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a really weird story. So I'm not trying to suggest Chinese people are weird. I just want to tell you a funny story. A long, long time ago, as I told everybody, I taught English in China way back when I was in my 20s. And I remember a really weird, maybe cultural difference. Or maybe it was a personal thing. Maybe it wasn't about China. Maybe it was this particular Chinese guy's thinking. I'm not sure. But anyway, to make a long story short, because it is a long story, I was unfortunately involved in a fist fight in China. It was not my fault. I was dragged into it, and everything was fine. I wasn't hurt. There's no problem. But afterwards, after all the dust had settled, after all the police visits were done and all that stuff, I was talking to somebody at the college. They called him a Y-ban. I guess the Y-ban is the person who kind of helps the foreigners, like an intermediary. And anyway, so long story short, what he said, and this is a Chinese guy, obviously, basically he said, they meaning the group of guys that attacked me, they're like, they didn't want to hurt you. They just wanted to win. Like they just wanted to kind of like knock you down a bit, get your dirty step on you, go, yeah, I'm the boss. Like that's kind of what they wanted. Meaning his point was that you weren't in serious danger. And my point to him was, no, that's not how I play. Basically, like that's not where I come from. If someone's starting to be aggressive, I'm going to defend myself from the beginning. I'm not going to wait for them to, I'm not going to wait and see how serious their intentions are. I'm going to defend myself. Anyway, like I said, nobody got seriously hurt. It's a long story. I'll tell you another time. But I never forgot that because I was just as confused by his comment as he was by my comment. So, and I'd seen that before, by the way, in China, where there's somebody a couple of people, they rough up and kind of knock down a store owner or something, but they don't really hurt him. They just kind of like knock him around a bit and knock him down a bit. It's almost like the kids playing King of the Castle, like, yeah, I win, I've got the flag. And then they go away. There's a thing there where they just want to show that they're on top or they won. And by submitting, you actually make the problem go away, right? But where I grew up, that's not what we do. So it didn't work out that way. Regardless, I never forgot that situation.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
We definitely need to hear the whole story next time
Yeah.
if we have time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's getting more interesting now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into the office politics as
Okay.
the next topic.
So with office politics, I always call it a game. Is it a game? Is it real life? Of course, it's both. It is real life, but it is a bit of a game. And if you think of it like a game with rules, going back to our conflict management idea, then the best thing is to understand the rules, then decide, do I want to play or not? And if I do, what are the rules? And I think that's the most important thing. And then, of course, if it's a game with rules, how do I win? So, office politics is a common phrase for a reason, because there is office politics, whether it's favoritism, whether it's giving some people chances, other people not chances, whether it's unspoken culture, unspoken expectations. There's even something like how one should dress, how one should talk. Depending on the office or the industry, there could be a lot of unspoken rules, and that leads to being noticed or even favoritism or the opposite. So I think that's the way I would summarize office politics, and just being aware of it. There was one lady I know who, when I met her as a client, this was during the day, and she dressed, in my opinion, like she was going out Saturday night to the dance club. So what I would call clubbing clothes, even though I'm I don't club. I'm way older than that. But so when I met her just for daytime talk, and I met her several times because she was my client, she always dressed inappropriately, is what I would say. And what I found interesting is that she didn't know why she couldn't hold a job. She didn't know why she kept getting fired. She didn't know why even strangers would yell rude things at her in the parking lot. So it's one of those things that's just so obvious to other people, but for some reason she just can't see it. So in this example of she's not going to maintain a professional job if she doesn't know how to dress professionally. It's as simple as that. But is it written specifically in the hiring paper, this is what you will wear, this is what you will not? No, of course not. Did somebody in HR take her aside and say, this is what we expect? Probably not, right? People are embarrassed to do so. They don't want to. They just fire her, and then she's upset because she doesn't know what happened. So that's one example of office politics where there's a lot of unspokenness, and then you've got to figure out what are the rules here and how do I thrive? How do I survive?
So
Did you
Rick,
tell her?
yeah,
No,
so
no,
so
I
Rick,
didn't.
No?
that's
No.
where yeah, I exactly I have a question about that is how do you help people like that?
Right.
Because I noticed things like that as well. I wanted to help, but it's very tricky, like
Yep.
in this situation. And then I think the culture here partly is also like that, that people do not comment on others, on their clothing, on their way of behave. So for people who are not familiar with these, they may never find out. So
Yep.
what's the solution here? I guess I'm trying.
Yeah. You need a brave HR manager or boss, whoever, to speak the truth. Or you need more likely, you need somebody in your circle, friend or family, to say, what the hell are you doing? Right? And that's what you need. And it's shocking that some people don't have somebody close by, a friend or family member, to say, like, you can't dress that way, or you can't speak that way, or you can't email your boss that way, or whatever the situation is. It's amazing, really, really unbelievable. Because to do it internally from the office is so difficult. Even if the manager or the HR manager has good intentions to help, it just opens you up to human rights cases and this and that. And as we all know in Canada, it's the Liberal government always favors the victim. Always. It's not about right and wrong here. It's about who's the victim with the loudest voice, and they will get fed, and the other people who are working hard, immigrant or native Canadian, will suffer. And that is the environment we live in right now. It's a very disgusting environment, which 10 years ago was very different. And it's unbelievable to think it's the same country. I'm going off topic a bit, but it's connected to office politics, where you just, unfortunately, the things we have to navigate, we have to understand and see. And then the brave soul that wants to tell the truth and say something to help, they're putting their career in jeopardy sometimes. Because if that person decides for whatever reason to turn it into an issue of racism or favoritism or any other ism, then you lose your job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sexism or
Anything,
stuff
any
like that.
ageism, sexism, you name it,
Mhm.
you name it.
Mhm.
Everything except for fascism, which is what it is. But anyway,
Okay.
so yeah, so to answer your question, I did not tell her. I was astounded that she couldn't figure it out. And I was blown away really that there's a person that just can't figure out. You don't go to a bank job looking like you're on a Saturday night dance floor. And so I wrestled with the idea myself to tell her or not. Every time I saw her, I wanted to tell her, and I just couldn't. I tried to drop hints, I tried to find out, but I just couldn't. It just maybe I should have, I don't know, but I couldn't get there. So
Show her some pictures of clothing people wearing to office.
she sees them when she goes to the office. She sees everybody
Okay.
else how they're dressed,
Yeah.
right? Everybody else is dressed a certain way. It's right in front of her. It's obvious. So, like I said, that case, I wrestled with it, and in the end, I decided not to be so direct with her.
Sorry, may I say something here?
Yes, Robert, go ahead.
Yeah. So probably the way this lady how she dresses is just a signal, right? Maybe this is correlated with other decisions or just a
Yes.
signal of how she is aware, right?
Right.
So probably even if you correct the way she's dressed, then there are some other factors.
Right. I think you're right. I think you're right. I think there's deeper issues as to why she dresses that way, and I think there's I'm not a psychologist, right? I'm not there to coach people about their childhood traumas, right? That's not my job. So we didn't, I helped her in different, you'll be happy to know that I helped her in different ways, because as a communication coach, we certainly still had opportunities to work on conversations in the office and conflict management skills and, leadership. So I definitely did my job from that regard, but I did not address what I felt was the elephant in the room, which was the obvious reason why she couldn't hold a job, or why people didn't like her, especially women.
Right.
And when people talk about office politics, I often heard someone say, "Okay, so there are this boss, that boss, so you need to choose side. If you are on the wrong side, you're gonna get laid off when when no matter
Sorry,
what."
Yang.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Yang. We have 3 minutes left.
Oh,
Not that I want to interrupt you, or I do really want to save a few minutes to say thank you to Rick. But
Alan, I'm not in a rush. If we need to go a little bit over time, I'm okay with that. Okay.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I hope everybody can stay then. That would be great. Yeah. So the last section is about preparing to be a leader and becoming a new leader. So Rick, if you want to
Yeah.
speak to that, yeah.
Thank you, Ellen. And yeah, yes, sometimes managers do ask you to pick a side. They don't do it. Sometimes they do it indirectly, and that's a terrible feeling. And that's another reason why a lot of people don't like working in an office, is because there's this, are you on his side or her side, or team A or team B? And it's very unfortunate. Not all the companies do it, but it's unfortunate. With leadership, what I found interesting about this topic that Ellen brought forward was, I think that this is one of those words that everybody says, but not everybody defines it. And I think that's what's interesting to me, is people talk about leader, be a leader, leadership role, executive leadership, leadership. But what does it mean? So that's what I found interesting about the question. And so, again, maybe a little bit too philosophical, but I start off with the idea that, well, a leader has a certain way of thinking about themselves and their vision. And then they've got to communicate that to everybody. And then when a leader has a certain way of working, so that you can build great teams, and you also have great work ethic that people can see and they can emulate. You're not lazy, to say the least. And then if you're going to be a leader, you have to influence people, maybe just by being there, being in the office, being who you are, being your personal brand that we talked about earlier. Maybe that's enough. And people like that and they follow you. Now, whether that means follow you, like do what you say, or follow you means they love the company, or follow you meaning they want to be on the team or do something similar, or it's all good. So I think that there's probably lots of other things we could talk about with leadership, but I think that's an interesting way of starting. And when you're looking at yourself as a potential leader or growing into a leader, you should ask yourself, how do I think? What is my vision? What are my standards? How do I communicate that? How do I work? What do people see? How do I build teams and obviously work on those teams? And then, do I influence people? Do I want to? If so, how? So I think that's a good starting point for self-evaluation if you want to thrive in a leadership role.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there is another page where we differentiate leader from management with different things. And then this really interesting video. I did some clips here. I'm not gonna play. I was going to play a clip, but we don't have time for that. But then there are a couple of quotes from the video. I just want to read them here. It's like start with a leader that can stand out and be ridiculed. But then more importantly, the first follower, the comment is very resonate with me a lot. It says the leader first embraces him as an equal, and the first follower is an underestimate form of leadership. The first follower is what transforms a low nut into a leader.
Right.
And yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So people think being a leader is kind of all alone sometimes, but what you really need is somebody to support you. And if you've got that at least one person to support you and believe in you, then it becomes much easier, and it's much easier for everyone to jump on board. So maybe you got to be brave at the beginning when you're initiating something new or presenting a new idea to the office, or you have a new idea, but it is critical that you get somebody to support you soon. That is critical.
And I have to say, Rick, when actually, I'm gonna play this clip that from the session. That was almost exactly what you said, but I have to admit, it didn't resonate with me back then. It only resonate with me a lot when I was trying to get this clip out. And I'm just gonna play it so you guys can hear it.
The video at first looks like, okay, this is kind of like, teenagers, acting silly at a music festival or something. But what the man is saying, Derek is saying, is that a lot of people focus on the first person that started something, and they're the leader, quote unquote. They get all the attention. But what he really said was that if no one joined that movement, then there is no movement. You are a lone nut. You're just like crazy person by yourself. But the fact that someone joined that movement, the second person is really the leader. And then third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth. So for business, you have to remember that if you want any ideas to be implemented, you need support. This is what I would say is the lesson from this video, is that as a leader, you need a right-hand man, as the phrase goes. You need supporters. You need people to back you up. You need people to support you immediately. And maybe there's times when you have to support someone else in the office because they have an initiative, they have a movement of some kind, they have an idea, they have a new rule or something. And by you backing them up, it creates momentum to integrate that new thing. So leadership feels like a lonely business because you think of one person at the top of the pyramid, but a very important part of it is getting support. And if you can have consistent support from one or two people or three or whatever it might be, that's really going to help you be more effective and productive at work. It means that when you implement things, you'll immediately have traction, have support. Right?
Yeah. And thank you for that. And then from there, I'd like to give Coach Rick a celebration hat and say that we really appreciate honestly the advice as well as the genuine care to help people. I myself, like Nita, has find myself actually without me noticing it. Again, I'm just noticing it as I'm going through the last year's slides, and I'm like, yeah, I somehow started to chatting with the salesperson and the people who are doing renovation for us, and somehow things are just turning out better than it would have. So it is something amazing that's happening when you really start realizing what communication is. It's people, and it's what relationship that you're creating.
Cool. Thank you. I love hearing when that happens. I love hearing that it's having a positive effect. It makes it all worth it, right? So thank you very much, everyone.
It is, yeah. And like I said, it's not like consciously like I'm pounding myself every day. Oh, I need to do this thing that Coach Rick told me. But it's looking back and like, oh yeah, I wonder why I did that.
Good.
Yeah.
I love Rick, smart but warm and frank person. And knows exactly what you do. So thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We're gonna have a lunch or dinner together.
Sure.
We can get to listen to your long story more.
The big Jackie Chan fight. Okay.
Oh my goodness. That sounds scary. All right. Okay. I know we're about 6 minutes past. But thank you everybody. I know it has been a really great year again. And then if you're interested, I'm gonna post the slides of this today's session as well. If you go visit our website, you will get all the notes and materials from this year's sessions. So, and we are really looking forward to your feedback in terms of what do you want to see, what do you want to hear next year. Every feedback is welcome. And thank you again for all your participation and questions and discussions.
And thank you, Ellen. You've input so much into this program, and it's fabulous. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Yang. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, everyone, for showing up.
Thank you.
And tell your friends about it, so we have even more people next year. And the more people we have, the more interactivity we can have. It makes it even richer. So let's all keep up the good work.
Yeah, the more challenges you give Rick, the better you'll find he is. So give him a hard time.
Yeah, I have to dig deep for some answers, some philosophy.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
true. That's very true.
Well, happy holidays, everyone. And I know we're not in December yet, but soon enough, it'll be Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Xin Nian Kuai Le, all the other fun stuff. So by all means, enjoy your time with your friends and family and spoil yourself a bit too. And as Ellen says, when you're out there shopping and doing all the things and getting food, there's time for interaction. There's time for a little bit of refined communication skills, maybe a really cool question, maybe a really cool way of making that person feel great. Maybe practicing some active listening. All these different things can be used outside of the office. So keep the sword sharp.